Okay, hello everybody. Today we have an epic battle in TA Escalation, a 4v4 brawl on a massive map called Hell on Earth. Pun intended, there is lava. You can see there's lava all over this map. And it is a literal hell on Earth. We've got lava, we've got geothermal vents here in the lava, and we also have 4 players on each side. All I know is that this game is going to be epic. I don't know much about it. I haven't actually watched the replay, so I don't know which side wins, but I think this will be very entertaining either way. And here in the bottom left, we have on the southern team the pink Corps Commander Chewie, Gully in the light blue. Here in the green, we have BR, and here in purple, we have Coolnick, who has gone air first. Now, Coolnick deciding to send an early bomber. I believe he is the only player that has gone air first, and he's going to try to get some harassment done here. We'll see what he can do. That's 1 metal extractor, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very nice control. 6, 7, 8, 9. Metal extractors so far from that single bomber. It does look as though Coolnick has kind of caught the enemy team off guard. And yeah, he will go down after 9 metal extractors, but very heads-up play there. Let me introduce the top team. In the dark blue, we have Quark. In the red, we have Die. In the yellow, we have Perfect Dark. And in the orange, we have Root. Now, the player list isn't working, guys. I think on bigger games like this, these 4v4 battles, the player list does bug out. I do apologize for that. But Coolnick sending yet another bombing run, and it will take out 4 metal spots before finally being cleaned up by those defenders. And here in the bottom right, it does look like Coolnick has sent a transport from his air factory filled with a construction vehicle, and he will most likely take over this geo spot. So overall, pretty standard start by both sides. Like I said, Coolnick the only player going air first, and that definitely gave him an advantage in harassment, able to do those bombing runs. And he's still the only player on air at the moment, though that will certainly change as this game progresses, I would assume. But as of now, those players just kind of reaching their tendrils out onto the map, taking over as much surface area as they can with their engineers and construction vehicles, and expanding out onto these metal platforms. Very cool. Yeah, as I said, these boxes do count as 4 metal spots for regular mexes, and then if you get a moho, I believe it takes the entire square there, so that would be a huge income boost if you could get to T2 and hold that position. But overall, both players just massing forces, just getting ready for that inevitable engagement in the mid. And here we go. It does look like Perfect Dark now heading to T2. K-Bot. And we'll see what the other players are doing. Yep. Gully also headed to T2 K-Bot. So here at the beginning, as you might expect in a 4v4 game, it is very difficult to rush your opponents because having 4 people, 4 commanders to kind of push back any aggression does tend to lend itself to longer games because it is harder to finish off your opponent than it might be in a 1v1, where a single mistake could cause you to kind of instantly lose the game. But these 4v4 matches can be much more drawn out. They can be much more macro oriented, and certainly in this game we are looking forward to an epic late game brawl with T3 tech and giant mechs and massive tanks and all the explosions and carnage to go with it. So we hope these players can deliver. Here we go. It does look like, let's see, let's look at the players. BR now on T2 vehicles. And Pink warning his team that Dai has Mavs. Dai was the red player. Mavs certainly a point of discussion on the forums quite a bit recently. They have been in 9.86 in this current patch. They are extremely powerful and very fast as well, and doing a ton of damage, especially against T1 units. So we'll have to look out for that. We'll see if these Mavericks can get any work done in the middle. They are very, very powerful in this particular patch, but probably not as good in 4v4s as they might be in like a 1v1 or more of a 2v2 type situation. Mavs do have counters. They are certainly not unbeatable, and but they are very strong, and we'll have to see if the players can, if the northern team can use them to get an advantage over the southern team. Because I think at this moment, the only team building them is the northern team. Here at the top left, a few MAKs and Storms break through, but those will quickly be cleaned up. There is a lot of defense here. We've got some pulverizers. We've got a GAT. And here in the middle, we've got some Rockos. We've got some Javelins. And overall, kind of as expected, both players in a bit of a stalemate in the mid, making some progress, but kind of reaching a point of parity. They are kind of doing work to one another, but nobody has broken through yet. No team has definitively claimed the edge over their opponents. Let me turn down the sound a little bit. I don't want it to be... I want you to hear the volume, but I don't want it to be too loud so that you can't hear me, or that it hurts your ears to listen. So I'm going to try to keep the volume at a reasonable level so that we can hear the epic gameplay, but not have to get tinnitus. But yeah, as I said, at this point, both players just kind of duking it out in the middle. But as of yet, no team with a definitive advantage in terms of land area. It does look like perhaps the northern team having more of a foothold on the mid here. We have kind of a line of defenses. We're working on an ambusher there. Ambushers in Escalation are very, very strong. They shoot volleys of 3 extremely large and powerful shells that explode in a huge AoE. I don't know, compared to OTA ambushers, they are about 10 times stronger. And once, let's see, Dai finishes this ambusher, he should certainly push back all of this stuff, because that ambusher will inflict massive casualties to anything in its range. And as you can see, oh, it's already cleaning up everything. Yeah, the southern team's going to have to pull out of there, I think. Nobody wants to be in range of this ambusher. It is a party pooper. It will ruin people's day, and they need to stay out of range of that if they can. So kind of as expected, we've got some very epic battles happening in the middle. Very close engagements between the two players. And it does seem like the North team having a little better hold of the middle, just in terms of having that better defensive line. We've got a Punisher, we've got Ambusher. He's working on an Annihilator, which is the ARM T2 heavy laser defense. It shoots a purple laser that will kill most units in a single shot. It's specifically designed to counter those tankier, larger threats with a ton of HP and armor. The Annihilator is very good anti-tank defense, anti-T3 even, designed for that purpose. But here in the bottom, it does look like, let's see, Goalie has managed to find a weak spot in the defense. This bottom part wasn't really defended at all. And he's going to break through here with a combination of Pyros and Storms and attempt to get something done. Let's see what he can do. Takes out a metal spot. Takes out a couple, but yeah, these freedom fighters slowly cleaning up this force. It may take them a while. Freedom fighters' ground attack has been nerfed quite a bit in Escalation, but over time they will eventually do enough damage to clean up any ground units. They just need a bit of micro and a bit of harassment, and they will eventually clean up any ground force, as long as it doesn't have any anti-air capabilities, which certainly Goalie's little push there didn't. Here in the middle we have Coolnick with a small army of Fidos, and we have Root, I think that's his name, with an army of Storms and Reapers. And now Fidos are very good in this kind of situation with a choke point, because as you can see, they shoot this volley of shells, this kind of cacophony of bullets that are very good for these close quarters kind of situations, these choke points. They will just kind of shower anything that walks into range with those very powerful plasma cannon volleys. And it does look like the East team attempting to push through with these Mavericks, but Mavericks are a bit of glass cannons. They do put out the DPS like you wouldn't believe, but they don't have the most health. And if the players can kind of kite them, keep them at a range with these Fidos, they should be able to slowly clean them up. We have some bombers coming in as well. Some Phoenix, some Hurricane to clean these up. They will maybe kill some wind generators here, but at this point in the game, that's not the hugest deal anymore. We are probably on a more advanced form of energy here. Yeah, we have some fusions. So overall, the Mavericks not getting too much done, and the Southern team doing a decent job of holding off this, what seems like an endless attack from the northern side. Now, unfortunately, because I don't have the player list, I can't really check the economies. I don't know who is ahead economically. Certainly, it feels like the North team has more of a surface area on this map. Like I said before, they have a better hold. But these Lugers taking out the Annihilator. Let's see, BR doing a great job there with this T2 mobile artillery vehicle. And that will take out that Annihilator, but the Ambusher is still full health and can still push back anything that walks into its quite considerable range. Here on the east side we have Root now still pushing through with some Reapers and Storms. And yeah, the Mavericks and some Snipers as well. So both players still brawling out in the middle. but neither team really able to make much headway. Now, I will say that the North team is doing a better job of retaining air superiority. Die having a ton of freedom fighters. I don't know if there's any fighters at all on the southern side. I haven't seen any. So the North team should have air control here. Having air dominance may be a huge factor in winning this game. If they can keep air control over their opponents, they can certainly bring in some of those T2 gunships, or even transition into T3 aerial combat. And that will allow them to have a huge advantage over their opponents. So we'll have to see if the southern team can do anything to relinquish this aerial dominance and take it away from the northern side. Let's look at what the players are building here in their bases. It does look like Die now on T3 K-bots, working on a Marauder at the moment. What else? Root on going on to T2 aircraft. As I said, the northern team does have an aerial advantage, so that should give them the ability to harass their opponents from the sky. Maybe get some cheeky bombing done. Maybe get some gunships in the mix. And another push, it seems like, from the northern side. A large army of assorted T1 and T2 units. But they are going to run into this wall of Bulldogs and Dominators and Samsons. And we'll have to see if they can push through. There are some Mavericks on the east side. There are some shooters on both sides. And this could be quite a scary push if they can break through here. But we do have an Arbitrator belonging to Chewie. And yeah, Arbitrators are a T3 kind of long-range tactical nuke K-bot. They shoot these vertically launched missiles through a large distance. And these missiles will absolutely demolish anything in their explosion radius, which, like I said, is a bit of a mini nuke in power. So we'll need to keep an eye on what this Arbitrator does, because these things are very scary, and they can kind of win the game on their own if you get enough of them, or if you target the right things. So here we go, another good shot. But it doesn't look like he'll hit much there. I don't know what he's firing at exactly. I don't know if he's just... Well, I think he's just kind of targeting maybe the map or just whatever's in range. But certainly that Arbitrator will get more work done if it chooses good targets. There we go. It took out a nice squad of AKs there and did some damage to the Goliath. These Arbitrators are very scary indeed, and they have a huge range. And like I said, a couple of those can quite easily decimate your opponent's army or their base in short order and slowly give you an advantage, allowing you to push through onto your opponent's side of the map. Yeah, that Arbitrator, certainly a pain in the neck. And here we have a Juggernaut as well, moving into position. So, yeah, the northern team, they're going to have to do something about this Arbitrator. They can't just allow Chewie's long-range tactical missile K-bot to just harass their base and defenses with impunity. But in the meantime, Gully moving forward here. Let me just slow it down. With an army of Hurricanes and Shadows, trying to get some bombing done. But I'm a little surprised that the North hasn't brought their fighters. It did seem like they had aerial dominance. One would expect that these fighters would respond to that. But either way, Gully not getting too much done there. Maybe killing a few defenses or some metal extractors. But overall, nothing too devastating. The game will kind of continue on as normal here in the northern part of the map. Blue on T3 K-Bot, starting to build some juggernauts. And yeah, Root also going there. We've got some heavy fusion reactors. These things produce 5,000 energy apiece. And experimental unit fabricator. Both players certainly kind of in an endless arms race at this point, moving to this higher tech. It does look like here in the bottom left, working on a Krogoth. The Krogoth is quite scary indeed. It is a much stronger than an OTA. It is about 10 times stronger than it was in the original game. It is a force to be reckoned with. It can kind of win the game single-handedly. And somehow this, I think this was the arbitrator. Somehow it got cleaned up. I wasn't really watching. But either way, that arbitrator, which was inflicting massive damage on the North team's base and army composition, has been dealt with some way or another. And now, instead, Chewie bringing forth this Juggernaut. The Juggernaut doesn't have quite the range as the Arbitrator, but it does still have a massive range, and it will shoot these long-range plasma cannon shells that hit in a massive AoE and kind of chunk anything and everything that their bullets touch. As you can see here, very disgusting, very hard to watch. The North team is just kind of losing units for free, and in the South here, a considerable army of Sumos and Mantis. Sumos are slow moving, but they are quite powerful. They have a ton of health, and backed up with these Mantis, they should be a formidable force to deal with. We'll have to see if the Northern team can stop this. They do have quite a few shooters, and shooters very good against taking apart these larger HP pool units. They don't shoot very often, but each shot does an incredible amount of damage. So it does look like this player, who is it, Goalie, will be pushed back. In the meantime, though, Chewie continuing to push forward with his Juggernaut and now his army of Dominators. Another bombing run by Goalie, another Hurricane army, but again, not going to get too much done. There's just way too much air defense, way too much flak, and way too many fighters there to really accomplish much. If Goalie wants to get something done, he'd be better off, I think, maybe moving to the north part of the map here and then going east, getting some economic damage done rather than trying to bomb the defenses at the front. I think there are better ways probably to handle that. As we saw before, the Arbitrator is very good at taking out that frontline defense at a massive range. And I certainly think those bombing runs could be used in a more effective manner than what we just witnessed. But in the meantime, both players continuing to upgrade their economies. 3 heavy fusion reactors here, and working on an experimental unit fabricator as well. That should be quite impressive when finished. We'll have to see what he wants to build out of it. And this Juggernaut continuing to push forward. Juggernauts are, I don't even know how to explain them exactly. They're very slow moving. They have a metric ton of health. And they shoot these massive plasma cannons at a massive range. They also have a blue laser to kill those larger HP units. They're kind of strong against everything. They're very good against swarms of smaller units because their plasma shells hit in a massive AoE. There we just saw a huge tactical nuke. Where did it come from? Could there be a neutron somewhere? I'm assuming... Here it is. Yeah, here's a repulsor. This is the ARM T2 tactical nuke. There's 3 of them. 4, 5. So we've got 5 tactical nukes in possession in Dai's repertoire. And these tactical nukes are kind of what you'd expect. They're not quite as powerful as... regular nukes, which in Escalation are a T3 technology, but they are also quite a bit cheaper, and you can build them much faster. And so having 5 having 5 tactical nuke silos will certainly make a huge difference at the front line. This is going to give Dai an advantage. He's working on his 6th one. So this is going to give the northern team an advantage here in the middle, I think, because he can simply tactical nuke anything that walks, crawls, or rolls into range of the northern team's base. And here we see that already. I'm assuming he's going to start shooting some tactical nukes down to the south to take out this pesky army. Ooh, beautiful, gorgeous, just explosions and death. I don't know how much damage these tactical nukes will do to the juggernauts, though. But they will certainly take out all of the supporting army, all of these Mortys and Mantis and anything else around the juggernauts should be cleaned up by this endless array of tactical nuke spam being leveled against the army of Chewie. So, yeah, very close game right now. It does look like Chewie's built another arbitrator, as I mentioned earlier. These are quite strong against these static defense emplacements because they outrange almost every defense in the game, and they do a ton of damage. Really, if you want to think about it, the arbitrators are kind of like a mobile repulsor. They're kind of like the T2 tactical nuke structure. They're like a mobile version of that. Obviously, they don't need to build their missiles. They just need to reload. So every 10 seconds or so, they can fire another tactical nuke for free and slowly pick apart their opponent's structures and base. So, yeah, this arbitrator, it's going to be a problem. We'll have to see how they want to deal with it. They did kill that first one, and I didn't see how exactly, so I'm going to try to keep a better eye on this arbitrator and see if it can survive a little longer. But, yeah, the southern team doing a good job of pushing through the south here. They have certainly kind of made a breakthrough into this portion of the map, and they will now be slowly pressing into their opponent's side of the base. These juggernauts doing work against these clumps of lower tier units. This mix of mavericks and spiders and shooters just doesn't really stand a chance against these juggernauts. Massive AoE shells. Yeah, this whole army just going to crumble in seconds to these juggernauts. Juggernauts very tough to deal with. The only real drawback is that they have no anti-air and they are quite slow. But overall, they are extremely powerful and expensive. They cost a lot, but if you can pay the price tag, they will melt through T1 and T2 armies without much problem, and they're even strong against T3 as well. So, yeah, the only real drawback being that they're slow and that they can't really target air. So, yeah, here we have, let's see, a second arbitrator. So yeah, Chewie kind of on the arbitrator game plan. These, like I said before, I think will slowly pick apart this defensive line, this kind of trench, metaphorically, that the northern team has made. These arbitrators will slowly kind of nuke that down. As you can see, each shot so effective at taking out these static defenses. And we'll have to see how he wants to retaliate with these repulsors. Yeah, he is firing back, attempting to get some counterattacks done, but it does seem like there might be a protector here somewhere, an anti-nuke, which will stop these repulsors from getting their payload to the intended target. Yeah, there's definitely an anti-nuke here somewhere. I don't see it. I do apologize for that. These anti-nukes can sometimes be very sneaky. But yeah, certainly the southern team here on the west having an anti-nuke that is stopping these repulsor shots for now. But how long can they? That's the question. There are 6, almost 7 repulsors now. Eventually they will overwhelm the anti-nuke defenses. So it is really just a matter of time before I think this northwestern base gets overwhelmed with tactical nukes. So very close game so far. We are still in a bit of a stalemate in the middle, with Chewie pushing through here a little bit in the south with this army of juggernauts and Mantis and Mortys. Here we go. Die now sending some tactical nukes here to the south to try to take out this force before it can inflict too much damage. And these arbitrators getting a little too close for comfort there. Arbitrator is very strong, but they're not the tankiest. And here we go again. Gully now going for yet another bombing run. Probably going to try to take out these tactical nukes before they can become an overwhelming problem. And he will do so. He will take out at least 3 of them before finally being cleaned up. So great job there. And these juggernauts still having plenty of health here at the front line. So overall, still a very close engagement in the middle, with both teams making some progress on their respective sides, but neither team really breaking through into the foundation of their opponent's base. Certainly they'd love to get into this kind of production line. It does seem like Die now working on T4. Guys, this is a treat. We don't typically see T4 in escalation games. It is very rare. It is a it's kind of like once in a blue moon that you will see this in a game. And the T4 units are, well, they're game enders. They are designed to absolutely demolish, decimate, destroy, and otherwise decapitate your opponent. They are designed to end the game more or less single-handedly. And so if Die can finish this Avalon, and it might take a while because these T4 units are not cheap. I mean, they are well worth their costs, but they are quite expensive to bring onto the battlefield. So we'll have to see if the southern team is going to let Die get that Avalon online before they can finally break through and end the game, because I have the feeling that if that Avalon does get completed, the southern team is in a hell of a lot of trouble. Arbitrator shooting another little mini nuke, taking out a line of sentinels there. And yeah, it does seem like the northern team's defensive structure here slowly crumbling, slowly collapsing to the might of Chewie's juggernauts, arbitrators, and here we finally have a Krogoth coming through. Again, Krogoth, kind of the super T3 unit. It is much stronger even than anything we've seen so far in these battles. It can tank and deal a massive amount of damage. They can even pick apart juggernauts quite easily, just to give you an idea of how strong they are in escalation. So yeah, this Krogoth is going to be a force to be reckoned with. The Eastern team does have some Cerberus. The Cerberus is the ARM T3. It's kind of an artillery K-bot. I kind of think of it as a walking battleship. It has these 3 massive cannons that shoot at a huge range. They shoot volleys of batteries, and they deal... It's kind of, in some ways, the equivalent to the core Juggernaut, right? The Juggernaut being slower, having that blue laser, the Cerberus being a little faster moving, but also having the long-range artillery fire that hits in a large AoE. So, yeah, I would say it's somewhat the equivalent of the Juggernaut. But so far, we haven't seen them doing much. Where'd that Krogoth go? We got to keep our eye on the Krogoth. He does seem to be hiding a little bit here. But in the north, an army of Juggernauts pushing through. Does look like Quark has built his own Juggernaut to try to hold back this endless tide of units coming from the south. And how is our Avalon doing? Here it is. Here's this Avalon. And finally completed. I was looking a little too far north. But this will finally finish. And as the northern team begins to crumble in the mid, they are slowly, I think, being pushed back in the middle of the map. This Avalon should hopefully turn the tides of battle into their favor. It's really hard to even fathom or explain just how awesome this thing is, and so I won't even really try. I will simply let you witness this rolling fortress of death firsthand, and you can make your own judgments about it. But either way, the southern team is going to be quite horrified indeed, I think, to see this. And this thing might single-handedly win the game by itself. Certainly the Krogoth can put up a bit of a fight, but it does outrange the Krogoth, and it outranges everything that the southern team currently has. We've got 5 Juggernauts in the mid and some penetrators. But yeah, this Avalon will outrange all of that, and it will cleave a swath of destruction through anything and everything it touches. And yeah, it's very slow, but can the southern team do anything to stop this? Let's see what they've got. I'm going to try to keep an eye on it. They've got they're working on their own T4 gantry right now. But will it be enough? I don't know. Can they do anything to stop this Avalon from just slowly picking apart their base? I don't know. As I said before, these T4 units are game enders. They're designed to finish games that get into these long-form stalemates, as we're currently witnessing. And they are designed to be very, very damn hard to kill. As you can see, it will just melt this Juggernaut. We've seen how powerful these Juggernauts have been all throughout this game, inflicting massive casualties on their opponents and being almost impossible to stop. And this Avalon just melting them like butter, like they're just nothing. You know, this Avalon just doesn't give a single F about these juggernauts. It just simply cannot be bothered. Chewie telling Gully to bring his Krogoth north. Certainly he does need to do that. Now, these T4 units have their HP hidden, just like commanders in Total Annihilation. So it is impossible for me as the caster to even know how much health this thing has. But if I had to guess, I would say it's probably on about 3/4 health. It's taken quite a bit of punishment, but at this point still quite a force to be reckoned with. It doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon, unless the opponents do something, anything, to bring this massive fortress down. Can they stop it? Is there anything they can do to stop it? Oh my goodness. This is just disgusting. This thing... It is an army unto itself. I mean, words really just don't do it justice, guys. What can I say? Does anything really need to be said at all? What are we watching? What are we witnessing here? What is this? Yeah, the southern team certainly panicking. They are desperately looking for some kind of solution to this nearly insoluble problem. But is there anything that they can do? I don't know. They're still working on that T4 gantry, but it won't be ready in time, I think, to build a counter. This Avalon is just going to slowly but surely crawl into the southern team's base and inflict havoc, taking out 3 fusions there, as if they were nothing. This is unreal. Guys, I've never seen the Avalon in an actual game before. I've never built one. I've only heard about their exploits, but to see it in action, to actually watch this thing in a battle is it is a sight to behold, I have to say. So impressive. The southern team now kind of I think accepting their fate, probably realizing that there's just not much they can do. Allowing your opponents to get to T4 in escalation is well, it's a bit of a mistake. Let's just say that allowing your opponent to get to T4 is it's a recipe for disaster, as these T4 units can quite easily win the game on their own. It's not as though this Avalon hasn't taken damage. It's not as though they haven't made a valiant effort to stop it. I mean, God only knows how much punishment it has already absorbed here, but they just can't stop it. It's just too damn powerful. What do you do? Here we go. We got a bombing run. Can this bombing run do anything? Oh no! Why is he targeting the bulldogs? Target the Avalon. Target the Avalon. Oh, he's targeting everything but the dang T4 tank. Oh, it's just so sad to watch. All those bombers flying over the Avalon might have been able to do something. They might have been able to inflict some damage on this massive, moving, rolling threat. But no. Goalie choosing other targets for reasons unknown, because this Avalon is certainly the biggest threat on the field at the moment. And good lord, this is the first time I have ever casted a game that ever reached T4. And wow. Is there anything the South can do now? Is there any way back into this game? Let's see. Building a second Avalon here in the back as if the first one wasn't bad enough. The Southern team desperately grasping for an answer, desperately looking for any kind of counter, any kind of solution. But no solution forthcoming, guys. I don't know what can be done about this. Here we go, some bombers coming in. They are certainly going to get significant damage done. Maybe if Goalie had targeted it earlier. We have a Raptor moving up here. The Raptor, the arm equivalent to the Krogoth. Oh, and finally, those bombers will take that monster out. Good God. That was impressive, guys. But did that Avalon do just too much damage? Did it put the Southern team too far behind for them to mount an effective comeback into this game? I really can't say, but it certainly feels like the Northern team is way, way ahead. Just looking at the mega map here, an endless stream of units making their way into the southern base. There's quite a bit of defense, but yeah, it does look like Pink has bowed out. I think Pink self-destructed there. There may have been some kind of nuke, but I'm going to assume that Chewie control D'd there, probably recognizing that it's over. The Northern team has won on the back of that Avalon. They do manage to clutch the victory, so that is a very impressive demonstration of what T4 can accomplish in Escalation, and why it is my favorite TA mod. You simply cannot get this level of carnage and awesome in any other TA mod, because that was simply epic to watch. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm sorry if I missed anything. 4v4s are so action-packed, and they are so full of action happening all over the map that it is sometimes hard to keep up with it all. But either way, I think we all kind of have a good idea of how that game panned out. And certainly we are looking forward to more games like that in the future. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next cast.